Welcome to Talking Mopars, episode number 144. This is a replay of a live stream that I recorded Monday night, just talking about the aftermath and the hauling of my new, to me, 1972 Plymouth Roadrunner 344 speed car, the one that I traded the Mr. Norm truck for. So I thought I would give my afterthoughts on the whole process and some of my plan. I went live on YouTube, actually, because I'm still restricted on Facebook for another, couple weeks or whatever. So um, I just kind of wanted to jump on and do a live and just kind of say what was on my mind. So that's that's pretty much what this episode is, and we'll be getting back to normal here soon. I know I've had a lot of requests to get back on Project Car of the Week, and don't worry, we're going to get back to that. So without further ado, if you are a Mopar enthusiast, then you are in the right place. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned in to the best Mopar enthusiast-driven podcast on planet Earth, and I am your host, Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter, and this is Talking Mopars.
You're listening to Talking Mopars with the Mopar Hunter, your direct connection to all things Mopar.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, I have to ask you guys a question. Is your Mopar protected? Whether it's sitting outside in the elements or inside the safe confines of your man cave, it's important to keep your Mopar protected. That's why I'm excited to announce that I'm now affiliated with a company offering an amazing solution for vehicle protection. They have everything from basic indoor shields all the way up to the top of the line platinum shields, offering the very best protection to keep your Mopar safe, both indoors and outdoors, from elements like dust, water, snow, and yes, even UV rays. Their products are guaranteed to fit and are backed by a great warranty. To find out more about my new affiliate, please visit TalkingMopars.com, click on the affiliates tab, and follow the link to their website. If you need protection for your Mopar, don't worry, we got you covered. What's happening, folks? I don't expect many people to join me on this live on a Monday night because I'm a psycho. This, I guess, is going to be episode number 144 of Talking Mopars. I usually don't do live episodes only on YouTube. I usually do them on Facebook too, but I've been temporarily restricted from live streaming on Facebook. So I'm sure you guys have heard the story already. What's up, Dean? Yeah, I was restricted on Facebook, so they decided to um, restrict me from going live on Facebook. So here we are, live on YouTube on Monday night. So for those of you that have been paying attention, I don't know who on YouTube also follows me on Facebook or listens to the podcast regularly, but cat's out of the bag. I traded the Mr. Norm tribute truck, much to several people's dismay. Um, what's up, Busted Radio? I I don't know. I just got this wild hair to throw the truck up and see what I could possibly get in a trade or what someone would be willing to pay me for it. I posted it for $30,000 now. I know I'm the notorious lowball guy that chops people at the knees all the time, but I was curious to see because when I bought the Mr. Norm truck, I had $26,000 cash and I was willing to spend every penny to get that truck because I loved it so much. And I didn't end up spending all that money, thank God. But I wanted to price it where I would be willing to buy it. As crazy as that sounds. And if I'm crazy enough to do it, there's got to be another person crazy enough to do it. So that's what's up, Joe's Mopar mess. Sort of stock Mopars. What's up? Thanks for joining me, guys. Here on a Monday night, we're all psychos. What are we doing? I'm actually off work on bereavement. My wife's dad passed away, so figured she's asleep now. I guess I can go live and talk to my pals. So yeah, I put the Mr. Norm truck up for sale or trade, and I got a couple interesting offers. I talked about this on the last episode of the podcast, so if you haven't heard it, go ahead and jump back over there. Um, and check it out. But I ended up trading it for a 72 Roadrunner, 344 speed car. It's already had all the metal bodywork and paint done. The engine and transmission are dropped in. The only thing I have to do to the transmission is swap the tail shaft. Um, and it came with a bunch of parts. I think so far, the most expensive thing that I need to get for it, and I'm sure this will change, but probably the seat covers. I need about $1,000 worth of front bucket seats and rear bench seat covers for that car. And from what I understand, they're pretty hard to get right now. But that's going to run me about $1,000 bucks. I'm going to need some carpet. It's already got a new headliner, and it's basically a painted shell roller. I need to rebuild the suspension on it too because I think a lot of it is original. Um, but it's an original 4-speed car. Came with a build sheet. As a matter of fact, I have the build sheet right here, framed. And I also have a copy of it. So I've never had a car that had a complete build sheet and a fender tag and was a legit muscle car until I got the 72 Roadrunner. So I'm pretty excited about it. And it was the first trade offer I got. And it really shocked me. I was like, what's the catch? And there really was no catch. I mean, the guy, locally known, he's got some really badass cars. He's actually got a race car for sale right now. It's a 71 Charger RT. It's got, I think, a 500-inch big block blown. Um, I don't have all the specs, but I do know that it's got like 1,100 horsepower, 1,100 pound feet of torque. It runs nines, but it's certified for 750s, I think, and it's got eights in it. No doubt about it. My buddy Pete, the guy who owns the car, was having some problems launching it, and he had to launch it in second gear. And I guess one of the track officials was like, "Yeah, this is easily an 8-second car." And he's like, "I had to leave in second gear," and they're like, "Oh, okay." But he's selling this car. It's got over six figures in it, so well over $100,000, and he wants 50 grand. Um, he's got some health issues, and he just wants to kind of eliminate some of the bigger projects. So, and he's not going to be racing anytime soon. So that's why he's getting rid of the race car. And with the Roadrunner, he knew that it was just going to take up a lot of time. I mean, as any of you that have built cars knows, uh, you need a lot of free time to build cars. And he would rather just have something cool that he could jump in and drive, and he liked the truck. He's already started making some modifications to it, but he's the perfect guy to sell the truck to because he has the money to take care of it. It's in a giant shop, with a Hellcat, a Daytona, another Charger RT. He's got a 68 Charger RT. He's just got a ton of cool stuff. So the truck went to a good home, and I'm excited about the Roadrunner because, I keep looking at it and I don't really question whether or not I did the right thing, but I question if I had kept the Mr. Norm truck, how long it would be before I could get another Mopar and have it in the same stage that this Roadrunner is in. And the fact of the matter is, I can't afford to have the paint work and body work and metal work done like that is done to that car. And I don't have the skills to get it looking as good as it does. It's a very nice car. Um, for me, too nice. Like I joke and say I'm afraid of the car because I don't want to scratch it and I don't want to, I would much rather have a ratty shitbox. That being said, I'm super excited about the car, and I shouldn't say I would rather have, but I'd feel more comfortable having a ratty shitbox. This car is going to be really nice. I have so many parts for it though, so because it was a straight trade and there was no cash involved. I feel like I got the better end of the deal, and it's no secret. I mean, the truck probably was worth, what I paid for it, $15,000. I was hoping to find somebody that would see the potential and coolness of the truck and be willing to pay what I would have been willing to pay. And I think Pete was in that boat. And he has enough money where it's like, yeah, cool truck, I'll take it. Here, take this Roadrunner that I'm not going to finish. You know what I mean? And it's got a ton of original parts and new parts. Basically, I could put this car together have it running, and then go, okay, what parts did I reuse that I should replace, and then just replace everything as I go. Um, so I'm gonna kind of throw the car. I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna put the car together and see where I'm at from there. Is this gonna be the first time I've ever assembled a car, basically from the shell up? But I have all the parts, and he was pretty organized about it. So we'll see how it goes. I want to document a lot of it on YouTube and obviously on Facebook and whatnot. So we'll see how much of a train wreck it is when the podcast guy tries to build a car. You know what I mean? Hey, thanks, Busted Radio. I see you said condolences to my wife, Dean. Yeah, you know, I was never, to be honest with you guys, my wife was never really that close with her dad in recent years, and I don't think he likes me. He did have a 70 Roadrunner in vitamin C with a Hearst pistol grip in it, though, so it was kind of uh, odd that he died almost to the day that I started making the deal um, with my own Roadrunner with a pistol grip 4 speed. But yeah, I hope wherever he is, I hope he's in a better place. But it's you know, life is short, and it's kind of funny because when I even contemplated getting rid of the truck, a lot of people were like, "Don't do it, don't do it." I'm an instant gratification type of guy. I knew, but what I really wanted, and I say what I really wanted because I wasn't after a 72 Roadrunner. It just found me. And I'm so happy with it that I'm gonna roll with it. But ideally what I had originally wanted when I put the Mr. Norm truck up was a 70 Roadrunner to clone into a Superbird. And I had a budget laid out so that I could get the car. You know, if I sold the Mr. Norm truck for the price that I was willing to let it go for, which honestly was about 25 or 26,000. Anything less than that, it wouldn't have been worth my time because the Roadrunners that I was looking at, I would still need between five and $10,000 to get to that next stage because I was already pricing out Superbird clone kits, and they range anywhere from you know mid $3,000 for the basic, not the best quality fiberglass, all the way up to damn near 30 grand. um, I got in contact with a company that makes aluminum spoilers or aluminum wings, and they're currently in the process of building a metal nose cone. So those were the pricey parts. So, and there was a 70 Roadrunner that I was really considering down in California for 20,000. Um, but none of that panned out. So now we have a 72 Roadrunner that I'm not going to be putting a giant wing on. But hopefully this car, once it's built and I have some fun with it, I might fall in love with this thing and never want to get rid of it. You never know. But I'm ready to see what happens with it, learn some stuff, and be proud of a car that I built. With the exception of the stuff that I couldn't do myself. So it's gonna be an adventure, and I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer for my wing car, but I think if I did sell this car, it would get me even closer. So, letting go of the Mr. Norm truck, like I said, I'm an instant gratification kinda guy. I didn't wanna wait until I could afford to, you know, uh, like, if I were to buy this Roadrunner, the 72 that I got, I wouldn't have the cash, so I had to make a sacrifice. So I made the ultimate vehicular sacrifice, and I let go of my dream truck, and I had my fun with it. Um, Pete changed the wheel out to a tough steering wheel, and I asked him if I could have the wheel that I had on it as like a memento, and he's like, "Yeah, take it." So I have the steering wheel of the truck. So I have little bits and pieces of it that I will cherish forever. And I will someday try to buy that truck back. But ideally, a lot of people I think were disappointed because, I've had a couple Tin Grill trucks and I've kind of, worked my way into that community, which is a great community. I love the Tin Grill Dodge truck community. It's a bunch of cool people. Um, but my story with Tin Grills is not over. I do want to get another one someday, and I want to, instead of a Mr. Norm's Grand Spalding Dodge Tribute, which I've already had, been there, done that. Um, I would like to do a Talking Mopars podcast tribute truck, you with the same type of feel as the Mr. Norm truck, because I really do love that truck. But at the end of the day, you know, I bought it as a promotional tool for my podcast because I'm such a fan of the high performance history of Mopars. And I think I got that truck to the point where I was at a crossroads. Either keep it and do everything that I said I was going to do to it and still be years and years away from another muscle car, or, see what I could do about selling it or trading it. And I think the trade worked out perfectly. Um, so uh, that's that. Let's take a look at this chat here. Um, Joe's Mopar mess, bring it down to SoCal. We send all our interior work down to Tijuana. Yeah, that's funny. Um, sort of stock Mopar says he's always wanted to do that, but he doesn't want his car to disappear. Yeah, no kidding. Uh, Jeremy from sort of stock Mopars. Yes, I did sell the 73. I posted it for 6 grand. Um, the secret was that I would have taken three for it, and I did. Uh, but I negotiated to keep my Craigers. So I kept the Craigers, sold the car for 3,000, and that helped me buy my uncle's car trailer. He had an old car trailer that he wasn't using. He had a winch and an engine crane with it, and this is one of my uncles that has really nice stuff. As a matter of fact, he's got a 78 um, Power Wagon. It's a little short bed, lifted on like I forget if it's 37s or 38s. Big ass tires, and it's cherry. It's been in the garage ever since I was a kid. And I remember I was just over there buying the trailer, and we were in the shop, and I was looking at it, and I said, "You know what, Uncle Jim? I remember coming in this garage as a child and looking up at this truck, and as a man, I'm still short enough to look up at this truck. It's so damn big. He's got an awesome roll bar in it. It screams 80s. It is a rad truck, and I would like to get it off of him someday, but I think my cousin wants it, so I may have to buy it off her. I'm not quite sure, but so I got this car trailer now. That'll help me in the future. Now I'm like, God, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of the shitbox race car, but I needed to get rid of that to get the trailer, and I'm sick of renting trailers and borrowing my friends' trailers. Now I have one of my own that I can hook up whenever I want. So that's just one step in me leveling up. You know, that's as crazy as it is. Selling the Mr. Norm truck kind of snowballed into selling the dumpster fire, and I was that close to selling the van too. But then I was like, no, no, we're not getting rid of everything. So the van is staying. I'm not going to be selling that thing. Um, that the story of the van is definitely not over in my hands. I said I was going to build a podcast van. I say a lot of things on this show, and a lot of the people that know me know that. And ask my wife. I change my mind about stuff a lot, and I'm very impulsive. Trading the truck, super impulsive, worked out for me. Selling the dumpster fire, super impulsive, worked out for me. The van, I'm not ready to let go of that one yet. I've got a lot of money into just parts and getting it to the point where I'm ready to start building out the inside and creating the mobile podcast studio. So the van's not going anywhere for anyone wondering. Um, Busted radial, yes, it is tawny gold with a little bit of extra pearl in it to pop in the sun, and that's just on the exterior. Everything else is just regular tawny gold. Um, yeah, the 78 Powell wagon. It's funny, my uncle. So for I think it was either his birthday or Christmas a couple years ago, my aunt commissioned me to create a T-shirt for him of his Power Wagon. So I created a T-shirt and it says the Mopar Hunter on one side, um, and on the back it shows the grill of his Power Wagon and it has the Power Wagon logo. And my uncle's a huge bowling fanatic, and he was out bowling some tournament somewhere, and he's like, "The Mopar Hunter, you listen to uh, the podcast and stuff?" And he goes, "That's my nephew." So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah. So I let go of the truck. I got this car now, so there's a little drama involving the car. So my van is currently in a state of not running because I took the intake manifold and carburetor off it. It had a 4-barrel cast iron. It's actually a really cool. '78 Dodge B200 Shorty. It was optioned with the 36-gallon plastic fuel tank, so that's good. I don't have to worry about the tank rusting out. Um, but it was also optioned from the factory 364 barrel. So it still had the cast iron 4 barrel and the thermo quad on top. So I pulled that off. I'm going to put a aluminum intake on it and probably just the Edelbrock 600 I have. But here's the thing. My buddy Brian, some of you guys know him as Dust Devil Garage. Um, I bought a Holly Strip Dominator and a Demon 750 carb from him. Um, and then I sold the dumpster fire. So I got those parts. They're somewhere in the United States. I don't even know where they are. He shipped them to me through USPS, and they're it's disappeared. Um, when I look up the tracking number, it's like, yeah, it's in transit, but it's been in transit for days. So I have no idea what's going on with that. But I was thinking, because I also have the full nitrous kit from the dumpster fire that I never got installed, and I sure as hell didn't sell that with the car. I was like, what if instead of the little Edelbrock Performer 318 360 intake and the little Holly 600, what if I put the Strip Dominator and the 750 Demon on the van and then hooked up the nitrous to it? It's crazy, right? I thought that would be a fun little project. Good for YouTube, but the van needs to move. So for now, I'm thinking of just throwing what I have on it because obviously I don't have the Holly Strip Dominator. I don't have the Demon Carb yet. It's still somewhere in transit. But I do have the other stuff to just get the van running because I need it out of the garage. I can do what I need to do to the van out in the driveway, but I cannot build the Roadrunner in the driveway. I need it in the garage. So I get the car. I set up because I wanted to give myself some time. I set aside enough money for about 2 or 3 months of storage unit rent. Okay. Storage units up here for a 10 by 30 that would fit the car on the trailer. Now, this is just temporary. I'm not building the car in a storage unit. I just needed somewhere secure to park the car that I could spend some time and get the van out of the garage because my garage, it's a 3 car garage, but the only way I'm going to be able to build this car in it is if I get it in there and then I put it on dollies or skates and turn the car sideways. So that's how I'm going to build the car. It's going to take up pretty much all 3 bays of the garage, um, much to my wife's chagrin. That's a different story. So later, Busted Radio. Thanks for joining me, man. Um, Dean, being impulsive is all about the triple win win win. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose being impulsive too. So far, I've been okay. Um, so I go and I look at this storage unit before I even pick up the car, and I'm looking at it, and it's a 10 by 30. So it's pretty narrow. But just looking at it, I'm like, a trailer with a car can fit in there, no problem. My trailer's not that wide. And 30 feet deep, no problem at all. I think the total length of the trailer is like 22 feet with a 16-foot deck. Um, so I'm looking at the way the storage unit is, and if this is the storage unit door, in front of it, there's two buildings and then aisles, and it's a little bit offset. And I'm looking at it, and I'm a Class A truck driver. I used to drive trucks over the road and a local city driving. So I can back a trailer. That's not the problem. And I'm looking at this spot, and I'm like, okay. And I see 3 different angles I can take. And I'm like, okay, I'll be able to get it in there, no problem. Okay. So fast forward, I go pick up the car. That takes me a long ass time because I wanted to make sure nothing was damaged because a lot of the interior pieces have been painted and I didn't want them touching. So I bubble wrapped all the interior panels that had been painted, bubble wrapped the new dash pad. A lot of people have seen the car and they see the dash and they see it's jacked up. I've got a new dash pad and it's a legit dash pad, not an ABS cover for it. Um, so uh, I I spend basically half the day just getting my truck loaded with all the parts, glass, all that. Um, and I load the car on and head over to the storage unit. I get there, pull in, and I'm looking at it again. This time I have the truck and the trailer, and I'm going, okay, this is going to be a little challenging. I'm gonna have to really hit some angles here. So To make a long story short, I tried all 3 angles, and I could not get the trailer positioned where I could basically follow it into the hole with the truck. If the buildings were pushed like 1 or 2 feet forward, it was basically getting to the point where I was like, "I'm gonna have to take my bumper off to make this, or just rip the bumper off." Like, because I was getting so close, and I was like, "Man," and I had my dad there spotting me. He's a horrible spotter, by the way. Um, I tried everything, and as a truck driver, I've never looked at something, and I've talked about this, recently. I've never looked at a back end and said, "Oh, I can do that," and then failed. This is the only time in my life, in my career, I've ever failed at that, and I've been driving trucks for, like, gosh, how long has it been? 10 years, I think? Something like that. Anyway, um, so I have a decade of experience, and it was a shot to my pride. I was like, "Man, I'm about to just drop the trailer right here, take the truck, go around, and then hook up again." And then I was like, "Well, I'll still be in the same boat as I'm in now." I was looking at it because I'm pretty good at pool too. So geometry, like, man, I was looking at it, and I tried so hard to get that car and trailer in that storage unit. It was going to cost me almost $500 a month to store the car. So I had $1,500 set aside so that I had 3 months. And I was hoping to have it done, the van, in, the next week or two, and that was before I realized that my wife's dad died, and I was able to get a couple days off, to make some things happen. So, anyways, I ended up having to take the car to my house, park it on the trailer in the driveway, put my car cover on it, and then I was like, "Shit, what am I going to do now?" Because for those of you that know this part of the story of the Mr. Norm truck, I had it stored at my uncle's house. Um, I call it my dad's property. There's a long story involved in that, so we'll just say my uncle's house. There's a shop on it, and I had parked the truck at my uncle's place, but he currently had a project in the garage, so it was outside. Okay, but it was covered, secured. It was perfectly fine. It was being checked on and all that. Well, my uncle has throat cancer, so him and my aunt called me up and said, "Hey, we're going to be gone for a week. The shop is now clear. Is it okay if we move the truck into the shop? So it's safe because we're not going to be here to watch it." I said, "Yeah, that's perfectly fine." And I said, "Just be careful. The truck is very, very low." And my uncle kind of blew me off. "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. This isn't the uncle I bought the trailer from." And he ended up breaking the front spoiler off it, the custom front spoiler, snapped it right off, right? Didn't tell me about it. Just threw the spoiler in the truck, or yeah, in the bed of the truck, I think, or somewhere around the truck. My dad went up there, saw the spoiler, called me weeks later, not even when he first discovered it, called me weeks later on Father's Day. Say, "Hey, Chris, is there something wrong with your truck? The spoiler on the truck?" And I said, "No, why?" And he said, "Oh, I came in and it was kind of laying," and I immediately lost my shit because I was like, "Huh?" And where I had backed the truck in, I had to take here we go again with angles. I had to take a special angle because there was a really hard dip in the driveway, and I knew if I went on that straight on, I would fuck my truck up. So I uh I know exactly what my uncle did. He fired up the truck and drove it straight into the dip, busted the spoiler right off. The thing that really pisses me off about the whole thing is, if he had called me and said, "Look, Chris, I fucked up. I'm sorry," and, told me what happened, I would have respected that more than not telling me at all, waiting for my dad to tell me on Father's Day of all days, and then trying to, like, you know, remedy the situation like, "Oh, he's going through a lot of—" I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Fuck. He knows that's my prized possession, and he was too chicken to call me and say he was sorry. And I posted something on Facebook about this, and I never called him out on his bullshit, right? I never called him out on this. I never named him. I just said, "Hey, I'm pissed because I didn't want to take it to any shows because the front spoiler, like, if that's gone, there was going to be a bunch of questions like, 'Hey, what happened to the front spoiler?' And then I got to say, I got to take the heat and just be like, 'Yeah, I broke it off,' instead of throwing my uncle under the bus." So when I posted the thing on Facebook, it was basically like, "Man, you know, this is what happened. The spoiler's gone. I wish I could go to some shows, but I can't. And some people were asking me what happened, and I kept my uncle's name out of it, but I did mention, don't let other people drive your shit. It's basically what I said, that I said to myself, like, I learned my lesson, never let anybody drive my shit. And he saw that and took super offense to it. And I just found out the other day, because my last resort, because I couldn't find any other 10 by 30s in the area. So my last resort was to take my new beloved car, my new prized possession, up to my uncle's house, the same uncle that can't tell me when he fucks my shit up. You know what I mean? So I'm super pissed at myself that I'm in this situation. And I come to find, for some reason, my dad talked to him about the whole drama shit. And he said before he apologizes about fucking up my truck, he wants me to apologize for talking about it on Facebook. Like, fuck you, dude. you know? So now I'm heated, and I get the truck and trailer. I park the trailer in the garage. I make sure there is nothing around the car. Because if anything happens to that fucking car, I'm gonna lose my shit. And I have nobody to blame but myself, really, because I got myself in this situation. The van should have been running a long time ago. This wouldn't have been a problem. So I'm fighting my hatred of myself and going, if my uncle's holding some sort of a grudge for a Facebook post because he fucked up my truck and I'm pissed off about it, God, I could only imagine, that car, if anything happens to it, I can't afford to have it repainted. I can't afford, you know what I mean? So this van needs to be running. I should be working on it right now. But I need to get a podcast episode out. So the car is stored up there for now. Hopefully it'll only be a week. Hopefully. But knowing me, it's probably going to be a month. And that doesn't make me happy. I'm kind of holding myself accountable to that right now. It better not be a fucking month, I'll tell you that. But I'm super worried about, like, if you fuck somebody's car up, especially their prized possession, do you hide it from them? Or do you say, "Man, I am so sorry I fucked up. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right." You know what I mean? And the fact that he's holding a grudge against me for calling it out without even naming him? Shit. Man, that's like that's a whole nother level of shit right there. But as you can see, I get a little bit worked up talking about it. But regardless, the van's going to get running. The car will be coming home, and I will be building it and documenting the build. Um, Sort of stock Mopar says, "Dude, gotta love the driveway builds. Always fun having a neighbor want to want to talk while you're lifting a rear and swearing to the car gods. Let the damn yeah." Um, when I sold the dumpster fire, right, the kid that came out and bought it brought his trailer with a winch, and the only thing that made sense was to push the car out into the street. So we get it out in the street, and I go, "Well, it doesn't have a steering column, so it's going to be a bitch to turn." So I said, "Let me go grab my skates and we can put the car on the skates." We put the car on the skates, go one push, falls over. And like, all right, let's just push the car back. And as we roll it, I can turn the tire. And a bunch of my neighbors heard the commotion and came out. And I was like, oh shit, here we go. And I'm that guy in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So they come out and they're super cool. They're talking to me about the car. "Oh, what kind of car is it?" The lady's like, "It's a Roadrunner," to the guy. He's like, "Oh, I thought it was a Chevelle." I was insulted when he said that, but different story. Um, so they're like, "Oh, you're getting rid of the car, you just put it on the Craigers or whatever," because I've been slowly doing little things to the dumpster fire. And it was kind of funny because I said, "Yeah, well, I'm getting another car." And I was like, "And I need to get that one out of the garage." And they all looked over to see my boogie van in the garage, and it's kind of like a little secret. Not too many people in the neighborhood have seen it. And they're like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's a Dodge, it's a custom Dodge van." I was like a 70s van. And instead of being all weirded out about it, they were all like, "Oh, cool." I was like, "All right, you say cool now. We'll see." um, so the van, it's gonna be bitching. But, the van, coincidentally, the van and this Roadrunner both have the same, wheels. They both have US mag, um, polished slots. So nice setup. It's gonna be cool having both of them. I can't wait. I was thinking about it when the Roadrunner's done for longer distance um, events. I would like to tow it with the boogie van. I think that would be fun because it does have a little street machine look to it, and I kind of want to keep it that way. Um, I'm not really a stock guy. I kind of like day two. So the Roadrunner is going to be like my little day two build. Um, but yeah, the dumpster fire, that's kind of a sore subject because it was supposed to be my race car for the No Name Nationals, and then the whole drama mess with getting out there with fuel and all that shit. And I had to back out of the No Name Nationals, and then I was going to go just to be there and support my friends, and then I got screwed on vacation at work. So I was one day short. I couldn't get an extra day to make sure I was back for work on Monday, which was super disappointing. And the flights into St. Louis were just all over the place, and the time was not on my side. And I was like, well, if I get an extra day, then I can work around the flights and just come in late or whatever the case was. And it just wasn't working out. So I ended up canceling the No Name Nationals altogether. So now I'm stuck with this ratty car that I was going to build into a little race car for that event. So I was like, at the time before I had decided to sell the Mr. Norm truck, I was like, all right, I'll just build a little shitbox race car. It'll be fun. Um, and now that thing's gone. I've got more parts on the way. So now I'm like, what am I going to do with these? Sell them? I really, it seems like I like selling shit, but I'm kind of a hoarder. I like to keep cool stuff because I never know when I'm going to run across it again, especially up here in the Pacific Northwest. Some parts are not very common. And go find me a Holly strip dominator for a small block Mopar. You know what I mean? So I kind of think it would be cool. I mean, fuel mileage would be a bitch, but I think it would be cool to kind of race out the van a little bit. you know, I would like to troll some people and hit the nitrous on them. That'd be fun. Um, especially with the purge kit. uh, but yeah, so the plan with the Roadrunner, once the van is running and out of the garage, at least I'll be able to move it around. And if I need to move it in the garage, I can because I still have one side of the garage that I'll be able to use for easy services and things like that for my daily drivers or whatever working on the van. So the plan with the Roadrunner, once it's home, catalog and inventory the parts, and I've already started to come up with a battle plan. First things first, I want to hear that thing fire off. It's got a fully rebuilt 340 in it. It's a warranty block. Um, so I want to get it running. I want to fire it off. Um, the transmission is not the original transmission to the car either, from what I understand. It's out of Pete's 68 Charger. Uh, so non-original engine and transmission, which is fine. It makes me feel a little less guilty if I decide to hop it up a little bit more. It's got a little cam in it, little comp cam. I forget what the specs are. I got them laying around here somewhere. I have all the receipts for the engine build. Pete owns an auto body shop, so I don't have any receipts for the paint and body. But he says he has $30,000 into the paint and body, and that's what it would have cost me to have done. And that number seems crazy to me, but I also don't do high-end restoration, so I can't say. But I do know that paint jobs can cost up to that, and I do know that quality paint jobs just in materials alone, you can be upwards of $10,000, well over 5,000. So, if you factored in labor and all the parts and all the materials and stuff, maybe it is a $30,000 paint job. I don't know. But it is a very nice paint. It's the nicest car I've ever owned. I'll say that. So I need to come up with a plan because I really don't want. I know that there's people out there praying for my downfall, going, "Here he goes again, getting another project. He's not going to finish." And I feel it. I can feel it, and I feel it within myself too, because I had to have a pep talk with myself. And I said, "Dude, here we go again. You're getting yourself into the same position. The only difference is this is a legit car." You know what I mean? It's not a 69 Dart GT. And there's nothing wrong with projects like that. But for me, I came to the point where I was like, I had invested so much into the parts for my Dart that I was looking at it. I was like, I'm not even close to finishing this thing. I'm going to have way more money. And this is how it usually is. I was going to have so much money into that thing. I would have never gotten my money back out of it. And this trade has allowed me to not only get the money, like if somebody wanted to buy the 72 Roadrunner, I'd probably sell it to them for 25, 26,000. I don't want to sell it right now. uh, but when it's built, it should be worth well over what the Mr. Norm truck would have been. Um, minus my labor and shit for putting it together, but I don't really count that. That's a learning process for me. So I'm just trying to figure out, how to go about building this thing. And the first thing that I thought to do, because it's already pretty much, ready to go, I just got to hook up all the little stuff, is get it fired off. I think that would really motivate me to get the rest of it done. So I want to get it fired off and then just start building it out with what I have. Um, my friend Tad sent me a list. It's like a build list. And it basically lists in order all the steps you should take in restoring a car so that you don't have to go in reverse, and so you go in the right order. So I was kind of looking at that. I need to have the car in front of me and know what parts I have available to know what is the best way to tackle the car, because I don't want it sitting in the garage for 2 years unbuilt. That does not sound attractive to me, and I know I have to commit to doing work on it every day, and that's fine because I also wanna continue to build the YouTube channel, and I think it would be fun to see a guy who doesn't, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know shit. You know what I mean? Um, so it'll be fun to get, and I have such a wide network of resources and resourceful people and people that know what they're doing that I have no fear in building the car. That's not the problem. I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean? Even though I call myself an idiot sometimes, I'm not a complete moron. So, if anything, I'm resourceful. So, I've had a lot of people reach out to me to help me if I need help and stuff. So that's appreciated. And I'll probably use a lot of that help. Um, Even Pete, the guy I got the car from, said he would help me, and he's built several, you know. So, uh, it's not the act of building the car that I'm worried about. What's worrying me is the schedule of doing it. So I figure if I get in there every day, and just crack away at it, I should be able to get it done. I would love to have it ready for next summer. And that's a huge commitment on my part because, as everybody knows, I'm a busy guy, doing the podcast and all that stuff. So I'm going to really have to commit to being organized if I want this to work out. So I have to really sit down and just bite the bullet and make sure that I prove all the doubters wrong, that I can do this, that I'm capable of doing it, and that I'm not gonna puss out, not gonna back down. I'm gonna get that car done, and I'm gonna drive that thing and say that I built it. You know what I mean? Um, so I think that's the perfect car for me to start with, and it's gonna teach me enough so that when I do get the 70 Roadrunner to build a Superbird clone, I'll, aside from the paint, body, and metalwork, that kind of stuff, which I have. Funny enough, I have so many resources for that kind of stuff that um, I'm surprised I haven't used them yet. And on this car, I really don't have to use them. So that might be something for the next one. For now, let me just put a car together, that's basically a nice rolling shell with an engine and transmission dropped in with nothing connected to it. Let me just go from there. So it's funny because I like to name my cars and stuff, and I really couldn't come up with a good name for the Roadrunner, so I just called it Assembly Required. And then when I shortened it, it was ass wrecked. ASSRECQ, or REQD, ass wrecked, which is probably what this car is going to do to me. Um, so I'm going to be knee deep in that car. I'm so behind on so much other stuff, like my poor subscribers. If you guys are listening to this at any point, thank you so much for supporting the show. Um, I was just looking at how many episodes I'm behind for the bonus content. I'm about 4 behind, 3 behind on the podcast episodes. If you include this month, it would be 4, and the bonus videos, I'm behind 3, or 2, and if you include this month, it would be 3. I can get all that stuff done too, and I'm hoping to get it all done so that I can be more organized because I have a really hard time, and this is where I have to straighten my shit out. I have a hard time remaining organized. So I need to batten down the hatches, so to speak, and just do it. But I'm not doubting myself at all. I know I can do this. It's just a matter of really scheduling myself out and organizing myself. And I know that that's not what you guys are here to talk about. You're here to talk about Mopars. So my organizational skills or lack thereof um, are not very fun to talk about. But the car, I can't explain to you guys how it feels to get rid of a vehicle that you chase in the Mr. Norm truck, the vehicle that I chased for 5 years and I finally got it, had my dream truck. And it's weird because maybe other people think differently, but I like it would be like if you had always wanted a Superbird and you finally got one. Now that chase is over. You know what I mean? Now you got the car. That's kind of how it was with the Mr. Norm truck. I chased it, chased it, chased it, got it, drove it around, went full circle, took it back to the show that I saw it at, got to cruise it with my daughter. Um, the only thing left to do to that truck was to build out the suspension, put a full custom frame on it so it would handle like it was on rails, and then put a modern Hemi in it. Or if I came across the money, a second gen. But I knew that wasn't going to happen. So with that left, I was like, where am I going to be when I do that to the truck? It's not going to change my feelings on it. It might be a little bit faster and handle a little bit better, but I still love the truck. It's not going to make me love it more or less. So at that point, I basically came to the conclusion that my story with that truck was pretty much we were in the last couple chapters. Um, and this was like a late in the game choose your own adventure. Where in the last couple chapters, I have an option to go do this instead and create a whole new story with this Roadrunner. So that's the road I opted to go down. Um, God, the truck is badass. When I go over there and I see it, I'm like, oh man. And Pete jumps at it, fires right off, and it has that nice little cam in it. And I'm like, ooh. And I haven't gotten, the remorse, like the buyer or seller's remorse. Um, Surprisingly. I'm really happy with where the truck went. But I'm so stoked about the opportunity that this Roadrunner presents that when I see the truck, it's like, "Hey, dude, what's up? See it." You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm so pumped about this car because, like I said, it's the nicest car I would ever be able to get my hands on, and the only way I was able to do it was by sacrificing my beloved truck. Um, but there was one thing that kind of bothered me about that truck, and it always never sat well with me. But I knew what I was getting myself into. But it was the fact that every time I talk about the truck and people talk to me about it, if they ask me questions, I only feel that it's right to say that I wasn't the original visionary of the truck and that I didn't do the paint work. So it was a truck that I never really, aside from buying it and enjoying it, I hadn't really dug into it to the point where I could be like, yeah, this is mine. I built it. And I would never be able to say that fully, you know. It's kind of different with this Roadrunner because what I say, oh yeah, somebody else did the paint and body work and the engine was professionally rebuilt. You know what I mean? Other than that, I've touched everything on the car. So, um, that doesn't bother me nearly as much as having to and it wasn't that it really bothered me, it was just kinda like and it wasn't really a shot to my ego or anything, it was more like I gotta tell this story again, how it wasn't me that did it. Oh, because people would be like, "That is so awesome, how'd you come up with it?" And it's like, "Hold it right there." Um, the truck was awesome to own, it was fun. I tried to make it as famous as possible. That's why in my ad, I put it was the most famous tin grill on planet Earth. It's funny, but yeah, the truck is in a great, and this Roadrunner, man, it is so cool. I think I had it on the trailer for 5 minutes, pulled into the first gas station, and the whole car and trailer weren't even in the driveway completely before somebody was like, "Nice car," and that you guys know as car people when somebody compliments your car, makes you feel good. Um, it made me feel good, but it made me want to build the car so that when people talk to me about it, be like, yeah, I got it. Paint and body work done. The engine was dropped in, transmission was dropped in, but everything else I did. I built this car. It's like a Lego. And then the next car I get, or then maybe the next tin grill I get, I'll be able to do. a lot more to it, and I'll feel more confident. Because if I did, there was a Roadrunner I was looking. I think I told you guys about it earlier. A '70 Roadrunner in California. Um, I believe it was a numbers matching 383 car, 727 on the console. Very cool car. Needed a roof skin. Um, it was pretty solid. It was originally yellow with white interior. I thought it would have been a great Superbird tribute car. Um, I probably it's as funny as it sounds, I probably would have been more in over my head with that car than this one. The only thing I don't like about this project and that I would like about the other Roadrunner more is that I would be the one taking it apart because I like when I take things apart, I'm super, super organized about it. Now, all those parts may end up on the shelf and I may not ever put the car back together, but at least I know where everything is and what everything was. This car isn't too bad in the sense that there's really not much to it at this point, you know. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty excited about it, and I think the win will be when I get into it, fire it up, and drive it down the street the first time. I think that's when I'll finally go, "Oh, okay, this is it." And driving that car may give me an entirely different feeling than the Mr. Norm truck did. I loved driving that truck. Everywhere you go, people love it. It makes you smile just because it makes people smile. And for me, I'm kind of a people guy. I like people, and most of them anyway. Some of them, um, but car people that can appreciate a cool car. Uh, I appreciate those people, and they make me smile when the truck or whatever car vehicle I'm driving makes them smile. Makes me smile, and that truck had that. Um, I don't know if this Roadrunner will have that same effect. I don't think so, because the truck just sticks out so much. Um, Pete's kind of a low key guy too, so it's gonna be kind of funny. He's a low key guy, but damn, he's got some flashy shit. I'm like, man, you're gonna get a lot of attention in this truck, but you're talking to a guy who has a wing car, um, a very, very well done clone, I should say. Um, I know some people reached out to me talking about that, but it's a wing car, period, and it's awesome. I would give my left testicle for that car. Uh, he's got a Hellcat wide body, um, a '68 Charger Resto mod on air with a 500 cubic inch stroker in it. Very cool car. One of my favorite cars that he has is a '71 Charger RT that has a modern Hemi swap in it, but he custom built an intake so it would take the original oval air cleaner, the whole assembly, and he custom built the base for it. So when you look at the car, it looks like a '71 Charger RT. It's got the Ram Charger hood. You look through the Ram Charger hood and you see the oval air lid, the air cleaner, and you're like, oh, cool. Then you pop the hood and you go, oh shit, unexpected, very clean car. Um, but yeah, for a guy who's low key, it's like he's got some pretty flashy shit. So I think it's funny that he's like, he told me that the truck is like, you know, he goes, "You've already put it all over the internet. I don't got to do shit." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." But it's gonna get recognized. I'll tell you that. Um, but yeah, so I'm happy that the truck is gone because of what it brought me. So I can be thankful to the truck because it brought me something very, very cool that I'm very excited to have. But I need to get it home. I need to get it home and I need to get that van running. So I guess we'll cut it off there. That's almost an hour. This podcast is basically just to bring everybody up to speed. I know the last episode I talked about but now that it's done, these are my thoughts because it's done now. Oh, I don't know if I told this story. So when I went to Pete and I traded straight across. So his car for my truck, and we basically set our own value on the vehicles. I had a little, I had a trade declaration basically of I so and so am trading this vehicle that's worth this for this, and then the next party says I so and so and the same thing, just reversed. And we valued them at $8,000 a piece. Now I know what you're thinking, and we did that because if we got taxed, we wanted to keep the tax low, but we were anticipating no tax because it was an even trade in our eyes. Well, In the state of Washington, they don't look at it like that. So I go to the licensing office and I say, yeah, I'm here to do this trade and get my title. The guy looks at the paperwork and he goes, okay, 71 or 78 D150 for a 72 Plymouth Roadrunner. And then he's like, you could see his wheels turn for a second. He goes, hey, wait a second here. And then he goes, we have to go by book values and yada, you know the story. So he looks up NADA on the 78 D150 and it came out at $1,100 is what the truck was worth. Okay. And then he pulled up the NADA on the Roadrunner and it came in at 11,300. So I was like, all right, great. I'm gonna have to pay the difference on $1,000. And I was raising a fuss. I was like, this is so ridiculous that we both value these vehicles the same, and the state still has to weasel their way in and try to steal money from us, even though they have no business in this other than making me a piece of paper that I'm more than willing to pay for. But they want to tax me almost a grand. And I'm like, this is so fucking ridiculous. And I said, I know my truck's worth more than $1,100. I promise you that. And he goes, well, according to this. And I said, let's pull up Haggerty. And he goes, well, and he was kind of dancing around that. And the lady next to him behind the counter was like, oh, we can use Haggerty. And I was like, thank God. I pulled up my phone because he was battling me on it. I pulled up my phone, pulled up Haggerty. I just wrote 78 Dodge D150 value, and Haggerty pulled up. And I said, look at this. And I said, the most recent one sold for 53,000 or something crazy. And he was like, whoa. And so they pulled up the Haggerty site, typed in 78 D150, and true story, believe it or not, the truck valued at $11,300, the same exact amount that NADA valued the Roadrunner at. Because either way, I was going to be stuck paying the tax on the difference, right? So I'm going, holy shit, what are the odds? And then I look, and actually, hold on a second. I think I actually might have proof that this story's true. um, yeah, I think so. Okay. I notice, let's see if you can see that. 11,300. You see that? My truck was not a 6-cylinder. He fucked up. The way this would have valued out, my truck actually would have valued more than the Roadrunner based on the difference between Haggerty and NADA. And the girl said that most of the time Haggerty is lower. And I was thinking in my head, that is not the case at all. What the hell are you talking about? But I let her play it. This is the one they pulled up for the Roadrunner. I'm not shitting you. 11,300. You see that? How crazy is that? So for those of you listening to this as a podcast, I kept the printout from NADA and the printout from Haggerty because I thought it was so crazy. Like, how nuts is that that was the exact same value? What are the odds? And I didn't have to pay a cent in taxes. I mean, at first I was ready to just, throw my card up on the table and go, all right, whatever it is, just make it happen because this trade's going to happen no matter what. But I officially own the car and didn't have to pay Washington State. So I think that's where I'll end this episode. It's 11:45. It's almost midnight. I need to get some sleep because I got a big day tomorrow. Getting this garage ready, getting this van going, and bringing that car home. So thank you all for joining me on this Monday night. There's been a consistent 6 to 8 of you guys in here. You guys are soldiers. I don't know if you guys got to work tomorrow. If you do, man, you're crazy. Go to bed. If not, regardless, thanks for joining me here on Talking Mopars episode number 144. I think I said it's either 144 or 145. It's been fun. I'd like to get back into the lives. One thing that people have been reaching, I've heard this quite a few times now. People miss again, the old format of the show where I did Mopar, um, basically hunting. It was a project car of the week, and I would just surf Craigslist until I found something cool enough to talk about on the podcast, or what I deemed to be cool enough or conversation worthy. A lot of people said they missed that, so I'm probably going to do uh, some catching up for the subscribers with bonus videos on hunting Mopars, and then I'll bring back um, hunting Mopars for just videos on YouTube and Facebook because it is a lot of fun. I do love looking at cars. It's probably my biggest weakness is just looking at stuff for sale, and then I always end up finding something where I'm like, God, I wish I could get that. Like, I think that's a car guy thing or a car person thing. Um, that there's always something better. You know what I mean? Um, and I don't even know if it's something better. It's just something else that you find cool. I have that problem. If I had the room that my buddy Pete has at his place and a lot of money, the place would be stuffed. He's got such a giant shop. It's not even funny. I'm so envious. And when I look at it, all I can think of is if I keep working hard and just keep my nose to the grindstone, maybe someday I can afford something like this too. A lot of people look at that kind of stuff when they see somebody with a lot of stuff that they wish they had, and they're looking around like, what does this guy need all this cool shit for? It's like he worked his ass off for it. You know what I mean? And I don't like that mentality. I don't like that mentality of, oh man, must be nice. Fuck, I hate that. I hate when I hear people, oh, must be nice. And I say it in joking sometimes, like, man, that must be nice. But never with like any type of vitriol. You hear, must be nice, man. That kind of shit. And it's like, dude, the guy worked his ass off. You know what I mean? He deserves everything he has. And I would love to be in that position someday where some asshole saying that to me. Must be nice. Cause I'm gonna go, yeah, it is really nice. Once you get done working your ass off and you get to relax with all the cool shit you earned with hard work. Yeah, it is really nice. You should try it sometime. You know what I mean? Um, Not everybody had a free ride. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you out there listening, um, maybe you're that person that sees somebody with a lot of cool stuff and you go, oh, it must be nice. You know what I mean? Hey, everybody starts from ground zero, most of the time. you know. Uh so it is a level playing field. I know that a lot of people, oh, it depends on where you grew up and stuff. It's like put me in a third world ghetto and I'll figure out a way to get out. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't know. I hope that anybody out there that sees people with really nice things, they got three wing cars or, just a collection of badass shit. Before you go, must be nice. I want you to think about what you're doing in your life that is preventing you from having that stuff. You know what I mean? Um, Sometimes I sit and I go, shit, I could have gotten some stuff done tonight, but I was too busy looking on Facebook or doing something stupid that I didn't need to be doing. I hate myself when I do that. Um, there was years where when talking Mopars didn't exist and it was just a Mopar hunter where I was constantly because I basically built the page by hunting Mopars and sharing Craigslist ads and getting people to reshare from my page and just to build the following. I was spending hours and hours and hours a day, long before like Search Tempest or any of these things that made it easier to search for cars. Um, there was a lot of late nights where I should have been sleeping and I was hunting Mopars on Craigslist to post them for the next day to get them ready because I was posting like average 6 cars a day. And they had to be different. And it got to the point where I was starting to notice that maybe I had posted that car before when it was somebody else's or the car's been for sale for months. So it was funny, but that's the climb. You know what I mean? When I was looking at this Roadrunner, and when I was sitting on top of that car trailer, I was thinking to myself, God, I've worked my ass off just to get to this. And still I look at a guy like Pete and I go, look at all the shit he has. And I'm sitting here like looking at this 72 Roadrunner like it's made of, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's what hard work will get you. You know what I mean? So I got to keep working hard. I b I was thinking about it, I was like, I bought the dumpster fire with money that I made from Facebook videos, and then I sold the dumpster fire and bought the trailer, and then I look at the trailer and I'm going, "Wow, I've wanted a car trailer for so long, worked my ass off." And, there's a little bit of luck sprinkled in on that, but, looking at it, I'm like, "Wow." When you see the results of you working your ass off, it feels pretty damn good. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are going to be listening to this in the future as a podcast or that are watching this right now, you've got nice stuff and you look at it and you go, damn, I worked my ass off for that. Doesn't that feel good? Man, I love that. Like I look at the Roadrunner and I go, man, I sacrificed my dream truck to have that car and it elevated the car for me. I know that there's a couple of people that I know that are like, 72 Roadrunner, huh? Cool. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you and I look at that car differently. Trust me. Um, but for me, the car on that trailer and me pulling it with my truck was a culmination of years of starting from zero, building something from scratch. Something as stupid and I shouldn't say stupid. Something as basic as a Facebook page. Anybody can do it, and anybody can grow and buy whatever they want if they work hard enough. Every time I see a Superbird or a Daytona and I go, man, I wish I had that. The thought in the back of my head goes, you can, asshole. You just got to work hard. You know what I mean? Work harder. If you don't have it now, you're not working hard enough. You know what I mean? So it's time to get serious. It's time to, the hard part about the Roadrunner is going to be not only building the car, but creating content from that and producing all of this. And it's going to be a challenge, but I'm up for that challenge. And I hope you guys are willing to join me. That being said, I think that's it. Thanks for watching, my friends. Until next time, my name is Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter. And this was Talking Mopars until I hit end broadcast. Have a good night. Enjoy your week. We might see you guys this weekend.
There you have it, my friends. Another episode of Talking Mopars is in the books. For everything you need to know about this podcast or to listen and subscribe to the show, please visit talkingmopars.com. And don't forget that you can send me your Mopar stories, questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, and everything else on your Mopar addicted mind to chris@talkingmopars.com or leave me a voice message on my voicemail box at 209-28-MOPAR to hear yourself on the show. If you want to help support the show, you can pick up some cool merchandise in the Talking Mopars merch shop. There you can order products like t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, and more. And you can find that at talkingmopars.com in the merch shop. Another way to help support the show is by becoming a supporter on the Talking Mopars Facebook page. By becoming a supporter on Facebook, you will get access to exclusive bonus content, and you will be entered into our monthly supporter giveaway, where you will get a chance to win something fun related to Mopars. Special thanks to my friends over at DIY Hemi for their unwavering support of this podcast. If you are considering swapping a modern Hemi into your classic Mopar, go give my buddies at DIYHemi.com a shout and tell them I sent you. They'll be more than happy to help you out in their mission to Hemi swap the world. That's it, my friends. Until we talk again, I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars.
Thank you for listening to Talking Mopars, your direct connection to all things Mopar. Until next time, remember, no Mopar left behind.